Hi, I'm James Frieda. I'm a rapper, singer, producer living in Brussels, Belgium. You saw the title of the video, you know why you're here, I know why you're here. Let's get into it. But first, full disclosure, Groover provided me with 100 Groovies to test their service, which is the equivalent of 100 euros. However, they did not get any say in how this video portrays them, nor did they get to see it before I posted it. All of this was made possible thanks to the lovely team over at Make Waves, who helped me distribute my music to streaming platforms. It's 2026. People are blowing up off of TikToks and Instagram Reels, so you might be wondering, does playlisting really still matter? And the answer is, yeah, it kind of does. Playlisting provides the algorithms on Spotify and other streaming services with more data on what kind of music your music pairs well with and who typically likes that music. This can then help you land more algorithmic streams through things like Spotify Radio, for example, because the algorithm has a better understanding of who might be into your stuff. It's important to note here that saves tend to matter more than streams, but then again, being on different playlists increases your exposure, which increases your chances of people saving your song, which then can lead to, you get the point, right? Fine. So, Groover. After you've signed up and told Groover what your goals are, you can set up your first campaign. I decided to focus on a song from my EP Work in Progress, which I released last month and which you should go check out. It's all right, I can wait. Anyway, so the song I chose is called Keep It Realer, and I specifically picked this one because I already ran a playlisting campaign with it on Submit Hub, and it did pretty well there, triggering a bunch of algorithmic streams. So my reasoning was, if I can get some more streams through Groover playlists, maybe I can trigger another algorithmic push. So I could send my track to 3,364 curators and pros. However, that might be a little expensive, and there might be a bunch of these that don't care for the type of music I make. So we do want to narrow it down a bit. First and foremost, genres. Suggested for me, hip hop and rap in English. Let's just go with a suggestion for this one. So that already cuts it down to 1,228. We have curators that can give visibility and media coverage. We have curators and/or pros that can offer collaboration opportunities, and curators and/or pros who can provide detailed advice. Let's have a quick look what these entail. So under visibility and media coverage, we have playlist curators, we have media outlets and journalists, we have radio stations, social media influencers, YouTube or Twitch channels, and selected DJs. Under collaboration opportunities, we have labels, managers, bookers, publishers, sync supervisors, and springboards. And then under provide detailed advice, we have mentors and sound experts. I'm gonna unselect selected DJs because I don't think this song is really like a club banger. I mean, shit, I could be wrong. Prove me wrong, DJs out there. I'm also gonna uncheck social media influencers. How many people does that leave us with? That's 920. Now we could narrow it down more if we go to countries here. I'm from Belgium. Let's say I would only want Belgian curators. That would leave me with 33. However, seeing as I'm focused on playlisting here, I don't know if it's all that useful to do this. Now we have another drop-down menu here titled Advanced, where we have special certifications and Groover activity. High opportunity rate, we have high quality feedback, and then we have in-depth feedback. Then on the other side here, we have special certifications. There are top curators. These are people who are handpicked by Groover themselves because of the impact they have or the platform they have. Be warned, these are more expensive. There are the very impactful curators, the certified Spotify playlist curator, the certified YouTube channel, and then Groover service. The Groover service thing, I checked this last night. Basically, these are professionals, for example, a branding professional who will have a look at how you present yourself on social media, etc., and who can give you tips on how to improve that part of your artistic identity. So, seeing as I still have 920 curators who match my filters, how about we go for the very impactful ones? And I'm also going to check certified Spotify playlist curated for obvious reasons. Now that leaves us with 306. That's still quite a bit. So this first one here is a top curator, so this one costs 6 groovies. But let's have a quick look at their profile. We immediately see how well we match. We also see the genres accepted most often. This part here is titled "They recently gave these artists opportunities." This is simply so you could check that your song isn't like super different from what they've added to their playlists in the past. Here it says they want to receive music similar to Loyal Kana, Isaiah Rashad, Action Bronson, Black, or No Name. So this tells you it's usually a bit more low-key, lyric-focused hip-hop that they're into. Now here on the right, we see that they have 500,000 total followers on their playlist. So then we have their answer rate, which is 100%, which means they never let a submission go unanswered. And we see their share rate, which is 8%. Now why is that answer rate good to know? Well, curators have a week to respond to your submission, and if they don't, then your groovies are refunded. I like the look of this one. I'm gonna add it, even though it's a more expensive one. Now I'm not gonna bore you with my selection process here. Groover says that campaigns that target between 50 and 100 curators usually net the best results. In most cases, submissions cost 2 groovies. So what Groover is saying is that you're best off spending between 100 and 200 euros on a campaign, which I'll admit is a bit pricey. I ended up with 34 curators because I also sent in the song to a few of the top curators who cost more, ranging between 4 and 6 groovies. Out of 34 curators, 31 responded, of which 8 approved the song, which is an approval rate of about 23.5%. Groover lets you know by email when your song has been approved, and if it's one of the more selective curators, the email gets significantly more festive. Of these 8 approvals, 5 have already shared at the time of recording, 3 are still a promise to share. Groover reminds these curators after 21 days if the song still hasn't been shared by then. Now, little detour. Of these 5 that shared, 1 turned out to be super shady. The song was added to a playlist with about 70 followers, and then a week later, the playlist was nowhere to be found. I did some digging and found out that on their profile, they claimed a Spotify editorial playlist as their own, and they also claimed to have about 65k followers on their Spotify profile, which I checked.
That was a fucking lie.
To Groover's credit though, I contacted support and they almost immediately gave me a coupon for 4 groovies, which is more than what I spent on the submission, and they told me they would investigate. When I checked again later, the curator had been deleted from Groover's platform. The 4 remaining playlists have a combined follower total of about 40,000. When looking at my Spotify for Artists, I'm not seeing a huge bump in numbers from when the track was added, but I also didn't really expect that. As the song moves down on the Submit Hub playlists, it gets added higher on the Groover playlist, and so the result is that the streams sort of stay the same. Keep It Realer gets around 100 streams per day, with about half of that coming from algorithmic sources such as Spotify Radio. The best performing playlist in the last 7 days is one that came from Groover. So is Groover worth it? The answer is a resounding, it depends. Look, I have about 200 followers on Spotify. I'm obviously not a marketing guru, but even I can tell you that playlisting should be part of a bigger campaign. Services such as Groover are great to temporarily bump your numbers and get the algorithm working for you, but they're not the end-all be-all. Playlisting is a tool and should be regarded as such. And Groover definitely is a great option with an easy to understand interface and responsive support. Last thing I want to leave you with is to not take the rejections too personal. Between this campaign on Groover and previous campaigns on Submit Hub, I've been rejected a ton of times. Here's the thing, these curators get sent hundreds if not thousands of songs every week, if not every day. And even if it's good, sometimes it just doesn't connect. I'm sure you've heard songs where you're like, you know, this isn't bad, but it just doesn't do anything for me. And the way these platforms are set up is so that when a curator rejects your song, they have to provide you with feedback on why. And in my experience, sometimes they'll just come up with something kind of technical sounding in order to justify not adding your song. To be fair, I've also gotten responses in a vein of, hey, this is nice, I just don't think it's a fit, so it's definitely not everyone doing this. At the end of the day, music taste is still subjective. If you want to give Groover a shot yourself, you can use the code on screen to get 15% off your first campaign. Groover also has a bunch of guides on their website with tips and tricks on how to get the most out of your campaign, so be sure to check that out as well. If this video was helpful to you, be sure to give it a like so it can reach more people like you, and feel free to subscribe, follow me on your preferred platform, check out my music, and I'll catch you in the next one. Do YouTubers still say that? Or did that make me come off dorky? Asking it made me sound dorky. Cool. Yeah, no, figured. Yeah, cool.